Good afternoon again, partners. This is Greg Gonzales, your host today. Thanks again for making time to watch our presentation. As always, we want to respect your time and present in a concise fashion, so we're trying to get started and get moving quickly here. We were pausing for just a minute to see if there were more people to log in. I see quite a few familiar names here, so thanks again for joining us. Please note the audio is only available via your PC speakers. We're recording this presentation and we'll deliver it via follow-up email in a few days. Icons at the bottom of the presentation screen allow you to adjust sound, participate in Q&A, as well as download a copy of our presentation slides. We want to encourage participation in our discussion, so please fire away with questions. Contribute to the discussion on social media at ScribeSoft, #DataIntegration. And note that we will collect the questions and answer them at the end of our presentation. Presenters today will be Todd Bailey, Director of Platform Product, Paul Varley, Director of Product Management, John Joseph, VP of Marketing, myself, Greg Gonzales, Enterprise Channel Manager, and we will collect your questions again during the presentation and then read and answer them at the very end. So now let's jump into the heart of our content, starting with Todd Bailey and our 2018 product roadmap sneak peek. Todd?
Thanks, Greg. Great to be here, and it's an exciting time here at Scribe. Always within the software organization, towards the end of the year, we start looking forward into what we're going to plan out for the next year, kind of looking back at what we've got done, talking to a lot of customers, yourselves included, as far as what our priorities look like. We started this process probably a couple of months ago, and we're going to give you a sneak peek at some of the things that we're looking at in 2018. Well, one of the first things that we took a look at is kind of how we're looking at the product in general. Scribe has evolved over the many years, and Scribe Online, the platform, has evolved. And so we started looking at how we're going to devote our resources, and really we came up with three logical units. We've got the applications that we're responsible for, that we've produced over this past year. We've got the Scribe Online, of course. We've got Shadow, which is going to be coming out shortly. And then we've got several applications that were released both to the Microsoft ecosystem and the Salesforce ecosystem called Works, which allow you to access the platform. So we've got the applications that we're focused on. And then we've got the core platform, and we look at that as the API, the SDK, the software development kit, and the agents that actually run the jobs themselves. So really at the core of the system is the platform, but the applications use the platform, and then connectors sit on top of the agents, and they actually do the processing of the data between the applications or technology solutions that might exist, or generic, for example, text files. So we thought this was a good way for us internally and externally to kind of relay how we're looking at the roadmap and the different initiatives going forward in 2018, just as things have evolved here. So like any process, we looked at our priorities and came up with three that we thought were succinct and very clear as far as where we're headed. The first is embedded delivery, really looking to tap into those two different ecosystems that we're involved with, Salesforce and Microsoft. Really, the term location really, sums it up. Be where the users are and provide capabilities of the platform within those ecosystems in which you can deliver, you could leverage, customers can leverage, etc. So really be closer. There'll still always be the Scribe Online application that people would use for design time, but as we can surface more into native apps, we think it's going to be a better experience for everybody. The second priority was competitive offerings, provide that yes you can answer with out-of-box functionality. This includes connectivity, generic connectivity in 2018, REST as being one of the major ones, but also queue-based and looking at some other ones. But also within the platform itself or the application to provide more out-of-box functionality that you're expecting, version control, etc. So really want to focus in on that to provide you the best product out there to solve your needs. And then we've got a great set of features on the platform itself, but they need to be deepened. So we want to look at enrichment, or customer intimacy is another term that's used in product management to really deepen the existing features that we have, provide additional functionality, just go to that extra level, maybe a couple of different levels in existing areas. So we thought these were the three main priorities that we should focus in on. We met, both internally and with our exec team and off-site, and everybody seems on board here as far as what we're looking to do. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek at some of the major items, and by no means is this the entire list, but it'll give you kind of an idea of how they line up. So on the application side, we're looking to really double down on our Salesforce initiative and launching a new product there that would provide native capability. At the same time, we're going to do the same thing with the Microsoft ecosystem. So have apps that are actually available that surface the Scribe Online capabilities. With Scribe Online, we're going to invest more time in the concept of a single pane of glass. This is the ability to see at a high level details on your executions, whether they're across organizations or within the same organization, to be able to drill down. So a lot easier in the later phases of ILM to actually be managing integrations. A neat one that we're coming up with is called the Metadata Explorer. Really, it's the visual representation of metadata behind a connection, allowing you to explore, see details, alter, and manage what's available for your integration. So a lot more coming on that. That's a very exciting one that we think a lot of you will take advantage of in all phases of ILM. Especially when getting involved with a new project to understand the complexities of a customer. A lot more usability and design tools are going to be added. I mentioned one in the previous slide regarding version control, having that embedded within the product. And then we've got a few legacy features that are still out there that we want to revamp. Execution history is an example of that. We want to really turn that into an execution explorer, really giving you the tools to drill down into executions, to see trends, etc. So a lot of things on the application side that we're excited about. On the platform side, we've started thinking about the next evolution of where we need to be. The first one is how we actually process integration jobs. Today we do polling, we have event-based, but we want to get into is where connectors that actually can sense that something has changed, for example, messages in a queue, and actually trigger off the integration job. So that's where messaging and triggering comes into play. SSO and API OAuth are just another extension of being enterprise ready for the larger organizations. They're also required for the Salesforce and Microsoft initiative. And then, the rest are, just different areas, agent log access, making it easier to get to the agent logs, error handling, security, and webhooks. So a lot of exciting things on the platform which will support both the application and those developing in the platforms. And then finally, on the connector side, what we're looking at is really some core sets of connectors that we're going to focus on, and then revamping some of the connectors that we already have in the marketplace today to make them better, expand out the functionality, and harden them up in certain ways. But CData is an important relationship that we've been working on. Paul's going to tell you a little bit about that. We're working on a generic REST connector, which has been commonly requested. The Microsoft Common Data Service, CDS, is another one that's in the pipeline, and then queues, and then lastly Kafka. So a lot of exciting things in the 2018 timeframe that we're looking at. We took actually a bottom-up approach to this, looking at our resources and what we could get accomplished in a comfortable way, and this is the list that we came up with. By no means is this the complete list. There's a lot of other things that we're going to be working on, and we'll be able to share more with you as we move further into the 2018 timeframe. So that's the conclusion of your sneak peek. Happy to get on the phone with you and answer any questions that you have. But in the meantime, I'm going to turn this over to Paul Varley to give you a product connector update.
Hey, thanks, Todd. That's an exciting roadmap that we've got for the coming year. I'm sure that everyone's looking forward to a lot of that stuff. And so that we kind of go from that big picture of next year, I want to sort of zoom in a little bit into what we've done in the recent past and what's coming in really in the near future, just in the next probably quarter or so. And with that, the first thing I want to talk about has both platform and connector implications to it. This is a release that's coming early next month, which we're making some pretty exciting improvements to the replication service, which if you've been around Scribe for a long time, you know was our first offering for Scribe Online. So we've got a lot of customers out there using it, and this has the potential to help a lot of people in terms of the performance they get out of it. And what we're doing is adding bulk support for target operations to our database connectors. And really what that's going to do is to make the replication process go a lot faster than it does today. And both for the initial load of data into your database, as well as the routine syncing that RS does on a regular basis. And so for new customers or anybody who's creating a new RS solution, there's nothing to do here. We just set it up automatically, and we'll use bulk by default for those things. For people who already have RS and are using it today, all they have to do is to go in and make any change to the existing RS solutions that they have. And what we're suggesting there is to just do something like change the description, or in most cases people probably don't have a description attached to their RS solutions. So all you have to do is go ahead and put a very brief description in there and then save your solution again, and it will take advantage of the new features. What we've also done here to remind customers how to do that, or tell them how to do that, is we're going to put up a notification. You can see that blue box on the slide. So any customer or user who's in an org that has a replication solution in it will see this notification once the release is out there, and it says what I just said. So it tells them to go into their RS solutions and make a small change, and then they'll take advantage of bulk. And it also gives them a link to the article on the success site that explains all the details. All right, so let's get into some of the connectors. I talked about some of these on the last partner call last quarter, but a lot of these are now available in the platform, so I wanted to make sure that everyone's aware of them. We did an update to the Dynamics 365 CRM connector that added a number of features that you've been asking for. First and foremost is probably the native query block. So just like you can write SQL statements and use them in a native query in the SQL connector, you can now write say that 3 times fast, fetch XML queries and put those into a native query block. That just gives you more flexibility, especially when you're dealing with things like complex joins, things that you can't do in our UI, you can now do with fetch XML. We also did a number of performance improvements. Those include alternate key support on upsert operations and the ability to disable the automatic lookup that's associated with update operations. And there is a full release note article on that for if you want all the details. You can look on our success site and see how to take advantage of those, what buttons to press and so forth. Another connector that we just updated recently is the Sugar CRM connector. You may know that we've had this out there for a couple of years. The release or the version that's out there prior to this quarter was really suited primarily for integrating with marketing automation applications. It supported only 12 entities, things like leads and contacts and accounts and so forth. And we've greatly expanded the support and the number of entities that we have from 12 to more than 100. So it's really comparable now to the Dynamics 365 and Salesforce connectors that you're probably more familiar with. So whereas in the past it would be useful for syncing with marketing automation apps, today you can do things like migrations to or from Sugar CRM and kind of the traditional front office to back office integration that Scribe is known for, including sales order processing and the like. So if you have any customers who are working with Sugar CRM, I encourage you to take a look at that connector again and try it out. Okay, so another one that we released here recently is a Magento connector, and this is really our first e-commerce connector. And it's compatible with Magento 1. So if you know Magento, you know there are two versions of it, Magento 1, Magento 2. This is compatible with Magento 1. It is available in the marketplace. Unlike a lot of the other connectors that we've been talking about today, there is an additional subscription cost associated with it. So in addition to your IS subscription, it's a $2,500 annual subscription plus a $4,000 one-time setup fee. And it does count as a connection when you're looking at your basic or standard IS subscription. So some of the use cases that you might look at would be things like submitting orders from Magento to an ERP system, allowing customers to view shipping details and other ERP information from within the Magento interface, and then maintaining a single customer database, which would be syncing data between Magento and a CRM, and then syncing product details between an inventory management system and your Magento storefront. When you're talking to a customer who's working with Magento, of course, you're going to want to ask which version they have, because this connector that's available now is only compatible with Magento 1. We do have a Magento 2 connector in the works, but that's not available yet. And it is controlled via a license key, so if you're working with a trial, you'll want to get in touch with us so that we can provide you with a license key for that trial. And like most of our connectors, it does the metadata discovery, so it'll discover all of the objects in the Magento deployment, including custom fields and custom objects. Now there is a Magento extension that you have to install if the customer has custom objects and custom fields, but that is included with the connector. All right, so that's a Magento connector. Couple of other things. We have another new connector coming later this month, which is a ServiceNow connector. ServiceNow is a customer service application, and like the Magento connector, it is an additional subscription in addition to your IS subscription. In fact, the price is the same, $2,500 a year plus a $4,000 setup fee. It does count as a connection. Works for source and target operations. Also discovers standard and custom objects. And some of the use cases that you might think about there would be to maintain a single incident database by integrating your CRM system with ServiceNow, and tracking service requests and resolutions by syncing ServiceNow with say a bug tracking system or anything else, a database where you might have that information located. And we're really looking forward to all the creative ways that you might also think of using these connectors. They're kind of new markets for us, and we're really excited to see what you're going to do with them. Next, I've got a couple of other connectors. These are third-party connectors, most of which you'll see in the Scribe Online marketplace. So we've got Cvent, Cleverbridge, Marcis, Resco, Shopify, ICIMS, and Provence. And so in some cases, these are visible in the marketplace. In other cases, they may be private. So if you see something that you want to work with and you don't see it listed in the marketplace, please do get in touch with us so that we can make that connector available to you in the organization that you want to use it in. And then finally, I want to get to what's coming in the first half of next year. Todd did mention a few of these, but we're very excited about 2018 because we're going to be introducing many more new connectors than we have over the past couple of years. And so that includes things like the Common Data Service connector for the Microsoft Common Data Service, the generic REST connector, which is going to allow you to connect to a REST endpoint by just entering information through our UI. And then we've got a whole laundry list of others, including Google Analytics, Postgres, LDAP, Jira, Oracle Sales Cloud, Apache HBase, Active Directory, SendGrid, and WordPress. And as Todd mentioned, some of these are coming through a partnership that we have with a company called CData that is providing kind of the connector functionality that we're wrapping up in a Scribe Online connector and making available in our user interface. And so look forward to having lots of new connectors in the marketplace starting very early next year. And that's it for the update on the platform and the connectors. So with that, I think I will hand things over to John Joseph.
Thank you, Paul. All right. I just wanted to touch on a couple of interesting and exciting things that are taking place in the integration world and how Scribe is fitting into those. So first of all, we are really excited to announce that we're going to have a user conference in 2018. Hopefully many of you have already seen notices about that. At the moment, it's just to save the date. We don't have the full site up yet where you can see all the details and register, but we do want you to tell us as soon as possible if you're able to attend. So we do have an RSVP link that has been posted. And just briefly about this, it's scheduled to take place. It's really a 2-day conference. Come in on Sunday, which is the 28th of October, 2018. And then there's 2 full days of educational sessions, the 29th and the 30th. We really are looking at this entire conference as a training event where every session is going to be packed with information about how you can either create integrations more quickly or maintain them more efficiently, extend the platform, etc. There'll be sessions for developers as well as for integration designers using the graphical interface from Scribe. So we really hope you can join us. And location-wise, it's in a really great location as well. We've contracted with the Hotel Marlowe, which is in Cambridge, Massachusetts. If you're not familiar with the neighborhood there, Cambridge is right next to Boston, separated by the Charles River, and this hotel is right across, basically I don't know if you can see on the slide, there's a little profile of Boston. That's essentially the view from the hotel. So it's right across from downtown Boston. You can see the State House that's center of Boston right there. It's probably a 10-minute drive from the airport by taxi, assuming no traffic, of course. So great location. We're trying to put together an outstanding agenda for you. We also have up there on that RSVP page an ability to reach out and request or recommend a speaking topic as well. So if you're interested in participating, and that's one of our key goals, is to get a number of key interesting stories from you to be presented at the conference as well. So we encourage you to not just attend, but to also participate as a speaker. So there is a link there where you can send an email to us and propose a topic. So please do that. I do want to mention that we expect that there's a very good chance that this event could sell out, and so by RSVPing early, you can reserve your spot. So again, please do this as soon as you can. The site where the full site will be up probably in about another week. I don't want to make any promises there, but probably about another week. And if you're interested, I know we have been contacted already by a few people that have said, "Gee, I really want to go, and I have money now to pay for my registration fee." If you are in that situation, the site is not up, please reach out to your account executive, and they can help you. We can process that order quickly for you without the site being up there. So if that's your situation, just please reach out to us again. And there's some guidance here on the expected costs. So the rate, even for a very nice location such as this, is actually a very affordable rate for the Boston area, and it's $199 a night. And then the registration fees are planned to be $9.95 early bird, which of course would apply now, and $11.95 for the full conference fees. So we look forward to seeing you there. It's a very exciting one. If you attended the last one, I hope you had a great time. Share your story and get some of your friends to attend as well. All right, moving on to another topic. We just wanted to highlight something that is growing in importance to us and want to make sure that you are also plugged into this. There is a number of review sites that are popping up, and one of the more popular ones, it seems, is G2 Crowd. So this is a site that does really well when you search for things like cloud integration platform. That's their business, is to show up on the first page, and they drive people to their reviews. They have hundreds of reviews from users that are up on the site for various products, different categories. So there is a cloud integration category up there. Scribe is listed, and Scribe has a good number of reviews. We're always looking for more reviews. So one, I'll say it now, I think I say it later as well. Please, if you haven't given a review, please do so and share your enthusiasm, because it does drive people to the Scribe Online platform, which is obviously good for all of us. And encourage your customers to do so as well. This G2 Crowd is a pretty interesting site. They break things up into different categories and such, and so Scribe is actually listed in a couple of categories that are listed here: the top 6 cloud data integration software for enterprise, and the top 10 cloud data integration software for the mid-market. So there's some interesting content that you might be able to leverage as well in your sales cycles, and just some good people to connect with up there as well. So again, it could be something that's very useful for your selling. We are starting to use this a little bit more internally as well. In addition to there's a full profile on Scribe Online. There are also things tools up there that you can compare different products. And I've got a little snippet here of a comparison of Scribe Online versus Informatica Cloud. They probably have about 20 different dimensions that they compare the platforms on. What you see here is a side-by-side comparison, and where it's green, that indicates that side of the ledger is winning. So for everything listed here, Scribe Online has a higher rating than the Informatica Cloud on those particular dimensions. And I think, again, it's something where it's very detailed. And if you're interested in getting some competitive information, if that's something or a question from a customer, this could be a good source to go. I don't want to promise that we beat everybody on every dimension. That's not the case. Against certain products like Informatica Cloud, we do quite well. And I think across the board, we do well on dimensions that you probably can appreciate, things like ease of use. Anyway, this is something where you might find that little nugget of third-party validation that could help you. So one caution there is that this is always changing. As we get more reviews, the nature of the comparisons change on a daily basis. So, if you are going to direct somebody there, or want to rely on it for some future communication, just validate that things haven't changed up there, because things seem to change pretty quickly. But we are on the rise. This slide shows one of the other key elements of G2 Crowd, which is that they put all of the competitors on a grid. And I've circled the Scribe icon there, which you can see we're in a very strong position over to the right, and a decent but improving position going top to bottom. Ideally, we want to be in that upper right-hand quadrant. That was sort of the target, and so we're getting there. And we've seen a significant uptrend in terms of the number of positive reviews that have come out since some of the recent feature additions, all the way going back to the Crystal release last year. So we are in this high performer category, and sort of pushing into that leaders quadrant. So again, share your enthusiasm. If you have customers that are very positive about the Scribe platform, encourage them to go here as well. It can really help make a difference as things move forward in the cloud integration platform space. The next topic I wanted to talk about is some analyst recognition. So there's nothing new here on this slide, but just want to remind everybody, in case you don't follow it that closely, that Scribe has been recognized over the past year and a half for having a great cloud-based integration platform, or iPaaS, integration platform as a service. Gartner and Forrester both have included us in their roundups. It's not an automatic. As an example, there are probably 100 different vendors that Gartner tracks. And so to be included in, say, the top 10, you've already really surpassed a number of key hurdles even to just get into the report. So we've been included in that report the last couple of years. We are in what's called the niche category, which means that we're focused on specific problems and solving those problems. And we get recognition in there that we solve those problems very well. And what I mean by that is that some of the other vendors that are in there, they provide a number of specialty services, specialty solutions around things like B2B integration, which is essentially an EDI replacement. We haven't tackled that one yet, but in our core market of cloud integration and cloud to on-premise integration, the Scribe iPaaS does extremely well. In fact, Gartner had told us that we received the second highest score for developer productivity and ease of use of any of the platforms that they evaluated, which was about 35 different platforms. So we're at the top of the heap when it comes to that. And they've also highlighted that we have one of the quickest times to production, which really just a couple of months. And that's a credit to not just the platform, but also to you yourself, and how easily you're using the platform and how committed you are to the platform. When it comes to the Forrester Wave report, this one goes back a little while, but it's the latest report that they have put out in this space. So it goes back to July of 2016, just over a year ago, where we were named one of the leaders. I believe there were about 3 or 4 leaders recognized across all of the competitors that they evaluated. And we were one of them. We received top scores, again, for time to value, application connectivity, and management functions. So there's a lot of consistency here. We have press releases on this. We also have samples of these reports. At various times we've been able to give out the entire report. If you're interested in learning more about these evaluations, feel free to reach out to myself or to your account executive. We'd be happy to help you and answer any questions you might have. And I wanted to mention that we are in the cycle for the next Magic Quadrant. So this is scheduled to be published in April of this coming year, so a few months from now. We have submitted a bunch of information about our roadmap and business trends and things like that, so we're essentially done with our survey. You may have been asked by myself or by one of our account executives to help us out by filling out a survey for this process. This is a really important part of the whole process. A lot of those quotes that I mentioned on the last slide, which are actually written in the report, are the result of what you provide in the survey. It's the real-world customers, partners that are using the platform and talking about its benefits and strengths. And so if you did receive an email from me recently, it would have been last week, then we are asking you to please fill out the survey. I know a number of you have. You would have received an email from this person here, Kartik Murkesh, or something to that effect. And so look for that. Look for an email from me and look for an email from this person. They've changed the deadline a little bit, so it used to be the 8th. Now it's the 19th, and you still have time to fill out that survey if asked. So please do. The other part of this is if you do fill out this survey, and even if you don't, another one of these review sites is the Gartner Peer Insights, which is another review site owned by the Gartner company. And any time that you fill out this survey, they just ask you if they can move your review over to the Gartner Peer Insights as well. So we ask you to opt in for that inclusion. And if you didn't receive the survey, feel free to go up to Gartner Peer Insights and fill out a review as well. There are other ones out there. I would say, we are more focused on G2 Crowd, but there's a number of other review sites as well. Gartner Peer Insights is one. Capterra is another one. I believe there's one called Software Review or Solution Review. So there's a number out there. If you can only do one, I would say do the G2 Crowd at this point. But if you're filling out this survey, it sounds like all you have to do is check a box and you're done. So anyway, please, again, follow through if you did get an email from us. And we really thank you. This is a big deal for all of us in terms of the whole evaluation process for the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And I should say, I assume you're familiar with it, but the Gartner Magic Quadrant is probably the most influential document in the industry at the time about selecting the right platform and building confidence in your users around what they have. So that's the bottom line of being in that Magic Quadrant report. All right, with that, I will turn it back over to Greg.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate that. Sorry. Lots of exciting marketing events coming up. I want to say something in that what John is saying is very important as far as G2 Crowd and Gartner. Those are all very well-known review platforms, and if you really want to make your voice heard, don't just sit on the sidelines and assume no one's ever going to send you an email about that. Do exactly what John suggested. Go to those sites and register yourself and make comments on Scribe. Hopefully they're positive comments, but give us your comments on Scribe, and that'll keep all of us moving in the right direction. So I very much want to encourage that. Also want to thank Todd and Paul for their exciting news for the upcoming roadmap. Lots of great connectors and applications that we're connecting to, features and functions coming to the Scribe Online platform. So please continue to watch for those announcements. So for upcoming events, the first half of 2018, we're going to start with the Salesforce World Tour, which is just a few days away in New York, and then the Salesforce User Group events that you see listed here for January, March, and June. And last, of course, it's not technically in the first half, but Microsoft Inspire, July 15th to the 19th, is the first major Microsoft event. They always wait till the end of their fiscal year to start their event cycles. So Microsoft event Inspire is the first event out there in Las Vegas. Look forward to seeing you there, hopefully. Let's see, let's jump into our corporate update. As I was saying, really have quite a bit of exciting news around new connectors and new features and functions that Todd and Paul had reviewed. All of that has been driving exponential growth through our partners. We are partner focused and always want to be cheering our partner groups on. This is just a quick little snapshot here that I put together for 31 partners closed Scribe Online deals through Q4, totaling $724K in subscription revenue. That's a extremely great pace and continues to grow. So we're adding to the excitement, and of course you've seen from Todd and Paul's presentations that we're continuing to invest in the platform. We're adding consulting certifications rapidly. That's a key component of partner enablement. We just finished the Scribe Level 2 class schedule, most recently in Sydney, Australia, and getting to sit down and interact with the partners over there was a wonderful thing for myself and Ryan O'Connell. I do want to say for my friends in Australia, that didn't make the slide here, but we'll be spinning up a data center in Australia as early as February, at the very latest Q1 of 2018. You'll see more specific announcements as we get closer to the release date, but watch for that news. It's coming. It's something we've been promising for a while now. It's something that the Australian partners have been looking for, Australia and New Zealand especially. So please look for that. We promised it, and we're going to deliver it. Building on our success, as always, with new connectors, feature releases, and all of those things. So please do stay tuned. Some additional housekeeping here. There's a change to our SKUs. We're eliminating the Insight SB15 SKU. We're also adjusting. I shouldn't say eliminating, but we're repositioning this connector for the hub spot. I've got included in this presentation, which you can download, is two price sheets that are brand new for 2018. They reflect the changes where SB15 has been removed, and HubSpot now has been repositioned as far as the connector columns that we have here, the silos. So please have a look at that and contact your sales rep if you have any questions at all. Thank you again for attending this presentation. We always appreciate your support, and go have a good rest of the day. Thank you.